field goal, and then you have the team that lost by 20 points, winless Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football. Um, Emmanuel Forbes got benched, so everybody's making a lot of big deals about that. He was having a bad game. He's a rookie, he's got a lot to learn. I don't hold that to too high of a point. I think the defense overall, the number one combo, number one point is Del Rio, Ron Rivera, all that. It's time to make a change. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
it seems like every game we get a text from you saying Del Rio's got to go.
yeah, because he just doesn't put the players in a position to succeed. It seems like Kendall Fuller was the second best rated corner coming into this game in the entire NFL over 4 weeks, and then now he can't. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like scheme wise, he just seems to love this. Like he likes to play off on in zone coverage and try to outsmart offenses, but they're never there. There's it's always somebody chasing or blown coverage. We've probably been. I think we've given up the most points, tie or at least tie for second or something like that for the most points in the NFL through 5 weeks or say 4 weeks since no one else has played yet for week 5. But
Yeah,
it,
would you
it
have the Bills was a tough loss. You gave up a ton of points that game. Then
so far,
the first 2 weeks too.
yeah.
Well, those
But I
were
think,
what.
but still, it's been almost every week since then. It's been 30
Mm-hmm.
points.
Yeah, yeah, it's a rough last few weeks for Washington for sure. Close game against the Eagles, but that was that one. It was frustrating in a different way because you had the tie at the end of the game. Well, the go ahead, not the go ahead, but the touchdown to tie it, and you had an opportunity there, which everybody universally seems to think you should have gone for two there with Riverboat Ron, and he elected to go for the extra point and take it into overtime, and you know the rest is
Yeah, he
history
hasn't
from there.
he, he hasn't been such a gambler as of recently, which is fine. I still don't blame him for not going for two there. He made good points. With the
Mm-hmm.
offense being gas, it was a long drive. He had faith in the offense, or the defense to go back out there in overtime and get the job done. It is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Hindsight's 2020. But I just feel like as a unit, too much talent on that defense to be playing like this. And Del Rio's only had one good year, and it was his first year coming to Washington when he inherited, the defense that was pretty much already there. Um, so either
Del Rio has a. How many times has he been defensive coordinator? I don't remember.
at least three
He
times that
was
I could think of, because he was with Ron back in the Panther days. Then he was a DC either what in the Raiders, because he was the head coach of the Jaguars, right?
he was the head coach of the Jaguars. He was with the Ravens way back in the day, I think.
Maybe, yeah. So and then it's been a handful of times at least, plus
Yeah.
with us now. And I don't know, dude. I just don't think I think he's old, like old ways, set in his ways. Can't
Mm-hmm.
change. We never blitz either. He just expects which we do have a dominant front four, but they can't win every time. This has been an issue I've talked about since last year. It makes no sense to just send Chase Young, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Montez Sweat every single time. I
Right.
never see a cornerback. Never see, you rarely see through any gaps to the middle or even try to they don't do any stunts really. I don't. It's just basic. Let's bull rush and finesse these guys every time. Like this is Madden or something, but it just doesn't work. And
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
mean
time for a change.
it's tough because the type of defense, the personnel you guys have, well, you have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL from a pure talent perspective. I think one of the top four guys, all first round picks, and then you have Fuller, who has been one of the best corners in the league. I think statistically. Um, and
Off year
then
last year, but yeah, overall you know since he came in the league
yeah, and then Forbes. I thought Forbes has played pretty well this year. He just had
for a
the
rookie, yes.
Yeah, the Washington game, or not the Washington game, the game against the Eagles was rough. AJ Brown had a good day, and then this last week was a little rough. And then I think he ended
Yeah,
up getting benched, right?
yeah, but it's one of those things where like because even Ron says it's like he just has to focus more on his technique instead of like kind of branch. Just I guess he's losing focus of that while trying to make plays and do other things. But it's going to happen with rookies. Darius
Mm-hmm.
Slay even said he got benched twice, 2 games in a row his rookie year, which
Yeah.
he's a huge fan of Forbes. You see so much support from the older guys too, like the good, not
Mm-hmm.
just like older retired guys. These guys are top cornerbacks in the league. You have Aqib Talib recognizing his talent, like he's. I think people are really just don't understand how it's going to take time, especially if that's like the hardest position to play besides quarterback.
Yeah.
Let
That,
him let him. This is good for him. This is exactly what he needs because he's going to learn.
yeah, that was my thought. I was for the last thought on him, but Forbes, it's tough because do you want to keep letting a young corner get, beat a lot and let them get demoralized, or do you want to demoralize them by benching them? I think it's a little bit of you have to. I don't know. You just have to. I think you just keep letting him play, and then maybe just giving him a little bit of help on the field, maybe a safety or I don't know what they did, adjustment wise, but that's what I would do going forward rather than take him
There's,
off the
there doesn't
field.
seem to be a
Just
lot of
saying,
adjustments. That's for sure.
yeah. But anyways, the Bears look pretty good. That's 2 weeks in a row that Justin Fields has played very well. I think he has 8 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Um, they have the Vikings next week. Um, based on how they look, that's a winnable game. So maybe the Bears aren't trying to tank as I have thought. And then the Commanders, you guys have the Falcons next week.
We had a yeah, we had an easier stretch it seemed
Yeah,
before
you
we
guys
played
have
you guys again in week 8.
yeah. I mean, you guys are sitting at 2-3. You have the Falcons, which is a winnable game, Giants, which is a winnable game, and then a rematch against the Eagles. So we'll see how the next few weeks go for both of those teams.
Yeah, it's
So
still
that's
very
your
early.
yep, yep. That's your Thursday night football recap. Let's get into some of the latest news around the league as of this morning. Close that. First up, Jonathan Taylor surprisingly got an extension, at least to my surprise. 3 years, $42 million with the Indianapolis Colts. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it was a surprise just with the way the narrative was going about their relationship. It was very
Mm-hmm.
stressed and just didn't seem like they're going to work anymore. Their chemistry was fizzled out. But
Mm-hmm.
um, happy for him to get his money. It's the first time somebody's averaged over $10 million since what? Was it McCaffrey's deal? I can't remember. Either
I
way,
don't know off the top of my head.
so it was a big topic, coming into the season, early part of the season with the running backs and the value of the running back. And he definitely helped, raise the bar a little bit more for the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's kind of is what it is the way the league trends with the value of certain positions,
Mm-hmm.
especially now it's a passing league and I don't see it getting away from that anytime soon.
Yeah. The deal also gives him 26.5 million guaranteed. Um, one of the league's highest paid running backs now. I it was just weird because he seemed disgruntled, like he wanted to get paid, and then it also seemed like he just didn't want to play for the Colts. Um, Jim Irsay kind of has some weird comments here and there. He's one of the more outspoken owners around the league, whether for good or bad. Um, and there was the whole thing with the Colts saying or listing him as having an injury, or I can't remember the details with that. But then Jonathan Taylor, I think he tweeted something around he didn't have an injury, and that was way back in training camp, I think. Um, and then he was on the pup list, and it just seemed like he was destined to be traded. So big
Hmm.
surprise there. I think it's a win for both because Jonathan Taylor got the money, which running backs aren't getting right now. He doesn't have to go to another team. And Anthony Richardson has maybe Anthony Richardson changed his mind because he's looked pretty good when he's played the
Yeah, I was thinking
first
about
couple
that too. I
weeks.
was like, especially because of who he's played with himself.
Yeah.
Some veteran guys that maybe in their prime, the Colts could have been a different team.
Hmm.
But kind of having been on the cusp of the playoffs too, and then missing it with Wentz. But then, Matt Ryan comes in. It's like, okay, maybe not, and it's just he's kind of
Yep.
he hasn't had a solid quarterback, and then Anthony Richardson comes in and is just balling as a
Hmm.
rookie. And that was one of my thoughts yesterday too, for sure. It was like, well, I wouldn't be mad playing with Anthony Richardson, as my quarterback.
Yeah.
I think we had mentioned before, just having those two type of dynamic players on one offense is great.
Hmm.
They Indianapolis has some good young talent they can work with. If their defense gets back to what it could have been, they were their D line, at least when they've added Buckner, has been pretty good. But kind of so this year so far. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Shane Steichen I think's looked pretty good too. His first head coaching gig with Indianapolis, so maybe just turn the tides for things with that franchise, and you know, good for
I
them.
think the real victors here are all the fantasy owners that took a risk taking Jonathan Taylor this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
Westside would have a big grin on his face right now
yeah,
if he was here.
yeah. Me and him both took later picks though. If you
Oh,
got
you
him in the
got
earlier
JT
rounds,
too?
it sucks. Yeah, that's why I was talking. Yeah, I got him in
I forget
Brad's
things.
league. Yeah,
Ah, right.
yeah.
Well, good for you.
So I was
I'd be a
so
little
excited.
weary. I'd be a little weary his first game back, but then again, he might,
Oh,
you
he's
know,
gonna be on a snap count, that's for sure. But
it only
hopefully
takes
with
one
one of
run.
those, exactly. I'll say hopefully with one of those, those plays, it's a huge play.
Yep.
We saw with Brees Hall his first. He's been on a snap count, and we'll get more into him later. But even though he had his first rush was for 50 yards,
Hmm.
he was still able to get some fantasy points for us guys out here, even being on snap counts.
Yep.
Which obviously most of them don't care about fantasy points as they shouldn't, but it's just how we look at it.
Yep. All right. Next up on the news around the NFL, I was gonna go with this one first, but since we were talking about guys being active, let's go with Cooper Cup. Um,
Coop
he
coop.
is. I was trying to look for a news feed or something for him.
He's a
Let's
full.
see.
He's on no snap count. I know that he's going in full throttle.
Yeah, so he's whatever. I can't find anything. He's active today against the Eagles. Um, Eagles fan here. I'm not that thrilled about it. Um, they already have what is it, Puka Nakua? Is that how you say it?
But yeah, Puka Nakua, who
Tutu Atwell.
Puka
Um,
Nakua is on pace to be rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, for sure.
yeah, but Cooper Cup active. That gives them, the Rams have looked a lot better than I anticipated. Matt Stafford's been thrown all over the place, as we mentioned. A couple rookies stepping up. Their defense has played better than I expected. Um, but
For
just on
sure.
the topic of Cooper Cup, um, big boost for them, and he is active, and that's another one for fantasy owners, and another one for Westside because Westside had Cooper Cup and Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Cooper Cup obviously is less risky of a pick, and can't predict
yeah,
injuries. He has been injured before. He's injury prone, but he's also been one of the best receivers in the league the last 3 years. So what are you gonna do?
yep,
If he's there, you
yep,
take him.
yep. Yep. Good for the Rams. Hope we beat them still. All right. Last thing for news here,
We'll
we'll
get
just
into
get
that.
into the fan favorite Chase Claypool. He was traded to the Dolphins. Um, no surprise really that he got traded. He was a healthy scratch last week or maybe the last 2 weeks. I'm not sure. Um, he just wasn't. I mean, he wasn't working with the Bears ever since he went there. The Dolphins got him for
Bag of potato. I'm sorry, it was a seventh round pick. I think they
Chicago
got
gets a 2025 sixth-round pick
yeah, and
in
then
exchange for a 2025 seventh-round selection.
and Chase Claypool, yeah. Did you see the thing with Mike McDaniel when the reporters asked him about Chase Claypool, and then he was like, "You want me to say it, huh?" Yeah, he's pretty fast.
No, I didn't see that.
It's so funny, dude.
I mean, if someone's gonna
Ugh.
make the most out of a player with speed, I mean, it's Mike McDaniel. I mean, he's arguably one of the best offensive minds in football right now.
I'll be the first to say it too. As like one of the biggest Chase Claypool haters there is out there, it's only because of his personality and what his play of recent. When he first came onto the scene as a rookie, before his head swelled up after going 11. I mean, you can see the talent, you can see the athleticism, you can definitely see it there.
Mhm.
But they're not, everybody has the mental, and like once maybe that humbled him a little bit. Hopefully, he can go there and ball out. It's just one of those things where he literally just said in the offseason he was a top 3 wide receiver.
Yeah,
It's like you can't help but root against a guy like that.
yeah. The statements like that, and when you haven't proved it already, it just is a recipe for disaster. And I mean, if you just look at his stats since he was traded to the Bears, it's just atrocious. He doesn't he has one game over 50 yards since being with the Bears, 51 yards. And he has one other game with over 30 yards. Other than that, everything's under 30 yards. It's atrocious. And even before that, with the Steelers, he didn't eclipse 100 yards for some time. Um, and not a lot of touchdowns. He only has 3 touchdowns since end of November 2021. Um,
Yeah,
we're not really fans of him on the show. I don't think a lot of people are fans of him, except for maybe Dolphins fans now. And they have Tyreek Hill, Waddle. They have a couple running backs and Mike McDaniel, of course. So maybe you can turn around. I'm all for guys turning their career around, but maybe don't be
for
an a
sure.
hole.
Yeah, never like all the way rooting against them. It's just one, just don't have a fan over here, which is completely fine. That's it's just how the world works.
Yep, yep. All right, that's enough of Chase Claypool. Let's get on to the games for Sunday. Let's talk about the one going on right now, real quick. Jacksonville playing Buffalo, the early game in London, right?
Yeah, away from London. So it seems
London.
that Jacksonville definitely has, I think, the most games I've ever played over there
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
far. I think it's because of the owner Khan. I think he owns the soccer team that the stadium they play in or something like that. I think there's some ties there. But either way, I'm assuming they just stayed out there since last week. It's not a bad way to spend 2 weeks, as an NFL player. I feel like because you don't have to fly back and forth. You can
Yeah.
stay out in London for a couple weeks. It's pretty
Well,
nice.
as of now, it seems to have paid off. They're up 11-0 against the Bills.
Yeah,
Almost
going for two early too, which is I was curious about. Like maybe
Doug,
trying to set the
Doug
tone.
Peterson. Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
He loves to go
So
for two.
I mean, I don't blame it, especially if it really is a tone setting thing. I'm just mad that I benched Trevor Lawrence this week because we talked about a little bit before the show. He's just had a subpar, at least fantasy. I mean, definitely overall season, but definitely fantasy season as well. And it's just one of those things. You can't really win them all, but he's balling out. It seems so far.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good right now. He's 11 of 17, 129 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 0 sacks going into halftime. Well, almost halftime, 2-minute warning. Josh Allen appears to be playing modestly. He's 11 of 15, only 91 yards though, which is low, very very low for him. No
Yes,
no sacks for them either. Um, so not the most, you know, I thought it was
exciting
decent.
London game.
Yeah, I don't know, it's hit or miss over there. Um,
It's a good matchup. Got two good defenses. And then the Bills offense obviously is a little more bang bang, but anything can happen as we've seen in this league. So it's definitely not a bad matchup on paper.
yeah, but Yeah, Jags are 2-2. Buffalo's 3-1. Um, Looking good for the Jaguars so far. Bills are in the red zone, so we'll see what happens in the second half. We'll be commenting on that game throughout the show.
Go James
Um,
Cook.
yep. But for now, let's get into the 1 o'clock slate of games for today. First up, we have Houston Texans at the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams are 2-2. Um, let's see if we have any serious injuries. It doesn't look like the Falcons are too beat up. The Texans,
Tekkens.
um,
Tekkens.
Tunsil is questionable. I think he's been out for a couple games. I can't remember. Uh,
Yeah, he's been hurt, banged up. He just signed that deal this offseason too.
yeah, nothing too crazy for this game. Um, Looks like Vegas likes the
Atlanta.
Falcons at um, the spread's only -2.5. Um,
Yep,
I personally like the Texans.
me as
Um,
well.
CJ Stroud has looked really good this year. He hasn't thrown an interception. He was taking a ton of sacks, which was expected coming into the year because the Texans' offensive line, as we just mentioned, Tunsil hasn't been healthy, isn't the strength as is. So he took a ton of sacks those first 2 weeks, um, but he stayed in a clean pocket. He's been wheeling and dealing. They've scored 37 2 weeks ago, 30 last week against the Steelers. Um, Falcons, on the other hand, they started the year off well, playing the kind of games they want to, but the last 2 weeks they have not been able to score 6 points against the Lions and then 7 points last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. So they'll be looking to turn it around. Um, I mean, the Falcons are dealing with Ritter, and I'm just not a big fan of his. He's at best, I thought in his he could be like a really good game manager, um, and he would need to limit the turnovers and mistakes, but he's not been able to do that so far this year. And they've also been playing from behind, so they can't. Arthur Smith likes to run the ball, and Bijan Robinson has looked good, but they haven't been able to lean on that. Um, so I like the Texans going into this game.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Texans. Like you said, CJ Stroud's been playing very well. I think he's clearly the best. I wouldn't say best because Anthony Richardson's played well too. Just had that concussion. He's coming out as one of the top rookie quarterbacks so far. He's playing confident. He's got some good receivers out there. Nico Collins rising up. Who's the other guy? Bell? Is it Bell or
Bell
I can't
on
remember his name.
Bell on who?
Is the wide receiver. I don't know if it's
Oh,
Bell.
Tank Dell.
Dell. That's what it
Yes.
was. Yeah, I guess it's cool to see stuff like that. Uh, D'Amico Ryan's is doing his thing as a head coach. Love to see it. I think we're all D'Amico Ryan's fans.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Ex Eagle.
they didn't really since Deshaun Watson. It's been kind of a dark cloud over Houston too. I think
Mm-hmm.
lingering over. You didn't really have anything good. Davis Mills kind of showed some flashes, but obviously he wasn't the guy. And yeah, CJ Stroud, looking like to be the QB of the future.
Yeah, I was actually.
Atlanta, on the other hand, you said it too. Not so much with Desmond Ritter. I liked him. You can't win them all when it comes to finding these players. But Bijan Robinson, though, different story. He is fun to watch. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he looks really
In
good.
Toy Story mode too. Did you see the highlights of him breaking ankles?
Oh yeah. I did. That was the one I saw.
Oh man, I love that whole thing. As soon as I get some of those kinks worked out, I will be watching in Toy Story cast every time it's on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do it every for the morning games, right?
I didn't know that. I don't think they did it this week.
Oh,
I
okay.
was looking. I didn't see
I
anything.
didn't
I
know
didn't
if
see
it was like
anything
a
for it.
predetermined schedule or something.
No, I'm assuming because they did the slime cast a couple times throughout the season, so I'm assuming they'll probably do it at least once more. Hopefully.
Well, you mentioned just a fun little stat here. Last time the Texans and Falcons played each other was 2019. The Texans scored
Oh, it's been
53
some time, man.
points. Deshaun Watson threw like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, something around that. He went off, um, but no longer
Cheese and
here.
rice. I mean, Yeah, I mean, that was back in Deshaun Watson was slinging, reeling and dealing, back in the before the whole
Mm.
incidents, but whew,
So you said Texans too.
definitely Texans. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely Texans.
Before we go on to the next one, a little update from the morning game. The Buffalo Bills ended up scoring a touchdown. Josh
Who
Allen,
was it?
Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. What do you know?
Yeah, makes sense. Let's go Maryland boys. We got some
Yep.
good UMD wide receivers representing the NFL.
Yep. All right. Next game up, we have Carolina Panthers at the Detroit Lions. Um, this one's a little bit of a doozy. Panthers are 0-4.
Hmm.
Bryce Young's been struggling a little bit, but the team lacks talent offensively. Lions are 3-1, coming off of a big win against the Green Bay Packers. Jahmyr Gibbs is out this week,
Hmm.
but luckily for the Lions, Bruce Campbell loves Montgomery. So this probably works out better for them and their preference to run Montgomery 100 times. I do like the Lions either way. Um, thing with the Panthers is they don't have much to lose for because they traded their first round pick, but they're just going through their motions. Frank Reich, I just don't love as a head coach. He struggled here and there in
Indianapolis. Yeah.
Indianapolis. Not a great start. It's only 4 games, but not a great start with the Panthers. Um, we'll see. They need to add some talent. It's early. It's way too early, but I'm a CJ Stroud guy,
Uh,
and they gave up a lot for Bryce Young. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
yeah, it's definitely early, but when Adam Thielen is your number one wide receiver, I think you have problems.
Yep, yep.
Only because of the fact that he's balling out, but he's what 33, 34 years old. Like you just don't have a lot of weapons anymore.
And he
You
balled
traded
out
DJ
with Andy
Moore.
Dalton.
Yeah,
That wasn't even Bryce
yeah,
Young.
exactly. And then so I had also heard that he saw a decent fantasy week last week, but I had heard that Bryce Young may not play last week either. I was like, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Thielen, here we go again. Rocking in with Dalton. Nope. It was
Yep.
Bryce Young. He still got over 10 points, but you could definitely see there's a difference in the pass game.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. It is what it is. It's going to take time. They're rebuilding, rebuild around him. Maybe, do what you got to do. Because they traded Shaq Thompson to you guys too, didn't they? Shaq Thompson, Reddick.
Yeah, Son Reddick. Yeah. No, he
I think
left in
that.
free agency. Did we
Oh,
trade
was
for
it?
him?
I can't
Was it a
remember.
trade and sign now? We signed him to a deal. I can't remember exactly what it was.
I thought you guys traded for him.
I should know, but I can't remember.
Fucking
But
Howie Roseman, wheeling and dealing.
yeah, but Vegas likes Detroit as well. 9.5
Definitely going
spread.
Detroit. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we both like Detroit here. I'm gonna assume
yeah,
that Westside likes Detroit as well. Um,
yeah.
let's see. Next game up. Ooh, too bad. Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Usually we would refer to Westside here to talk about the Titans, but he has no control today, so we're both going to pick the Colts and move on. Just kidding. Um,
Last time too, he picked the Bengals and the Titans absolutely
I
slaughtered
know that
them.
was funny. He said he
So
needs to keep picking them or against them.
that's what I taught. Yeah, I
He
texted that in the
spent a
group. I
good
was like,
10
West Side, you need
minutes
to say
going
that
off
every
on.
time.
Yeah, he spent a good 10 minutes going off on the Titans. That was
Yeah,
funny.
I was like, you gotta do that every single time, and they'll just win. They finally. Well, what the Titans did do last week was give the ball to the King finally, let the King take over, do his thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's been a topic this year. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, they're some of their key players are getting older. Tannehill also struggled, and the some people thought he could be traded this year if the Titans continue to struggle. Um, Derrick Henry, for the most part, has avoided that running back, you know, their age and the
Father
stats.
time.
Yeah, the stats drop off earlier than other positions. But he's consistently been able to be that dominant force in a Titans team that hasn't really had a ton of talent elsewhere on offense, and they've still been able to win games with Derrick Henry up until last year. Um, and I think he's on the last year of his deal as well. So, there were, you know, some people thinking maybe the Titans could trade them depending on how the early part of this year goes. Um,
Yeah.
but they're sitting at 2-2. They came off a big win against the Bengals, winning 27-3. They are favorites at the Colts. 2.5 is the spread. Um, this one's a tough one because Jonathan Taylor's coming back. Anthony Richardson played well last week in a comeback that they lost against the Rams, but they did come back. It was a closer game than it
Mm-hmm.
was. Um, I'm gonna go with the Titans. We are a 1/3 Titans podcast. Um, if Jonathan Taylor comes back and makes the most out of his few carries since he's on a snap count,
Yeah, that's yeah.
it could go the other way, but I'm going to go with the Titans in a lower scoring game.
Yeah, me as well. I think they know they need to give the ball to the king, and just go
The
in there
King
take care
has
of
returned.
business. But John Taylor coming back is awesome, but I still don't think because he is on a snap count, he's going to make the biggest difference to this game. You never know, but I think the Titans should be able to take care of business.
Yeah. Yeah, Derrick Henry last week had 122
Defense
yards, 5.5 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Threw a touchdown too.
threw a touchdown too. Yeah, that's yeah.
If your quarterback's not great, which Tannehill hasn't been, let Derrick
Use the
Henry throw the
Wildcat.
ball.
Yeah.
All right. Next game up. We have the New York Giants at the Miami Dolphins. Miami is
Oh
heavily
yeah.
favored in this game, 13 points. Um,
Can't really blame him.
yeah, Dolphins. 2 weeks ago they had that huge victory at or over the Broncos, 70-20. Came back down to earth, kind of similar defeat, just not to the same extent against Buffalo. Buffalo scored 48 on them. Miami only mustered up 20 points. Um, to me, that just makes me think that Miami's going to come out swinging hard and probably put the Giants 6 feet under very early on. The Giants have been struggling the last few weeks, offensively and defensively. Um, just a debacle against the Seattle Seahawks last week. Do they buyer's remorse over Danny Dimes? Maybe a little bit. And Saquon Barkley's been injured. I think he's out today with the ankle again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Miami here. Miami is at home. It's supposed to be 90 degrees, so there's going to be at least multiple reports of cramps this game, or something.
Yeah, yeah. I can't not go Miami.
Short and
Too
sweet.
much firepower. Yeah, too much firepower. No way. The Giants can't even get a first down.
Fair enough. If you can't get a first down, you ain't going to win. All right, we'll leave that game in the dust the way Miami probably will.
New
Next
York, easy.
game up, we have New Orleans Saints at the New England Patriots. Saints have kind of been disappointing this year. They are 2-2. Their offense just hasn't been clicking like I thought it could with Derek Carr. Derek Carr hasn't been amazing in his career, especially with the Raiders. He had a few moments there. Just tons of issues with that team when he was over there. Head coach stuff. Their defense was never good. Injuries here and there. I thought coming to the Saints, they had enough weapons, even with Kamara being out the first few games. They have Olave. Michael Thomas has been healthy so far this year. Um, they have that one receiver, Shaheed. Shaheed. Is that how you say it? Rashid Shaheed.
Rashid's, yeah, you got it.
Whatever.
Rashid Shaheed.
Whatever it is. Um,
It's a tough one.
but they only managed 9 points against Tampa Bay last week, and they're going up against New England this week, whose defense has been pretty good up until last week against Dallas, but Mac Jones sucked. Something
I was about to
awful.
say, yeah, it's the same formula of if your offense can't do anything, your defense is on the field too much. What are they supposed to do? Eventually, they're gonna give up some plays.
Yeah.
It's You can't, Mac Jones is looked like he's gotten worse and worse as the years have gone by so far. It's unfortunate. It wasn't Mac. I liked what he brought to the table. I liked his quiet swagger. His rookie year he played well. He just can't seem to get it together this year so far.
Yeah, he's not been playing well. The Patriots also suffered two big losses on defense. Judon is out. I don't know if he's out for the year yet or not. I don't know if his injury was
Yeah,
that
I'm not sure.
serious. Who's their rookie corner from Oregon?
Christian Gonzalez tore his pec, I think, or
Yeah, he's out for the
tore
year.
something.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was
they
a
also
bicep or pec or something.
they traded back for J.C. Jackson, which they got for like a 6th-round pick or something from the Chargers, and he was a pretty big, going over there last song, not the previous one, but the one before that.
Mm-hmm.
Some because I remember playing what.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out when you make a move and then you never get back to where you were. Yeah, big losses there for New England. Um, I'm gonna go with Saints here just because I think the Saints defense can. I don't know. Mac Jones he's just not good. That's just the Patriots aren't going to be good the rest of this year. So New England is favored though, 1.5. What was your pick? Saints. Okay. Sorry, I lost you for a
Let's
second.
fade it out. You're good.
All right, let's go to the next game. Oops. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big division game. One of the bigger rivalries in sports has been for since the dawn of time. Even though the
Yes,
Steelers haven't been playing, yeah, Steelers haven't been playing as well as of late. Um, but nonetheless, it's one of those games where all bets are off, and it's probably going to be a close game either way. The Ravens are coming off a big win against the Cleveland Browns. Um, Handled their business there. They won 28-3. The Ravens have looked pretty good overall this year. They had the one tough loss, the kicker duel against the Colts. Justin Tucker, barely missed I think it was over a 60-yard field goal right down the middle, but it was short, which was a surprise. Um, but that's been their only loss this year. Lamar Jackson's looked pretty good, I think. He's got I
a
think
little
they've
bit
been
of focus.
dealing. Say it again. Yeah. I was gonna say the turnovers have been a little bit of an issue. They'll need to clean that up. Um, and they've been dealing with injuries yet again. Um, yep. I think they do get Marlon Humphrey back today. Doesn't look like he's on the injury list. And Odell Beckham is back today, I believe.
Those are coming back.
Yep.
Also, a knee problem. I think
What was that last part?
oh,
Oh, his knee. Yeah. Um, yeah. I'm gonna go with the Ravens here. I think it'll be a close game. The Steelers are. You know what? I may have read that last one wrong now that I'm looking at it. The Steelers are not the favorite. It's what is it? Now my thing's not working. It looks like it's four and a
minus four
half.
and a
Yeah, for the Ravens. Um, which that they Vegas knows it's a division game as well. So I think it would probably be a 3-point game or somewhere around there, less than a touchdown at least. But I'm going to give the Ravens the edge here.
especially with Canada is just a
Yeah, and Najee Harris hasn't looked good this year. Did you see the highlight of Najee Harris running? And he looked like he was going like 0.5 miles an hour, like super slow, like just no speed, no burst. He just, I don't know. He's just been a weird player since he's came in the league. They have Jalen Warren too, but either way.
His head.
What did he say?
Canada's
Oh, yeah. All right, let's go on to the next game. We got Philadelphia at the Los Angeles Rams. Um, let's see. The Rams, as I mentioned before, have been more competitive. They're sitting at 2-2. The Philadelphia Eagles are one of two undefeated teams remaining in the NFL at 4-0. This will be a tough game for the Eagles, I think. The Rams have Cooper Kupp coming back. They have Puka Nacua, who's been a rookie sensation so far. And the Eagles have had a lot of communication issues, breakdowns on the back end of their defense, giving up, big plays and a lot of passing yards. So it is a little bit of a concern. I think this game will come down to the trenches. The Rams' offensive line hasn't been great. The Eagles do have Fletcher Cox out today. I think this is his first game out due to injury in like years. Dealing with a little bit of a back. But that does mean more playing time for Jalen Carter, and he has been one of the best defensive rookies this year. Jordan
easily.
Davis, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. I think they're going to need a big game, get pressure on Matthew Stafford, to mess up their offense. But I'm curious to see what happens for the Rams on the offensive side of the ball with Kupp coming back against this Eagles pass defense. The Eagles did sign Bradley Roby. Brady, is it Bradley or Brady Roby? Bradley Roby. He hasn't been as good as he was a couple of years ago, but was known as one of the best slot corners in the NFL at a certain time in his career. So they needed him for a little bit of depth there. They were running Bradbury in the slot in those certain packages for a few weeks, and I think it was a good move to probably get a veteran in that slot spot so Bradbury can stay on the outside. I am going to take the Eagles here. It's only a 4-point spread. I'm hoping it's not that close, but we'll see what happens. I'm taking the Eagles though.
So
You cut out on me. Go ahead. Go back. I can hear you. The people might be able to hear you. I can't hear you. Oh, we're dealing with technical difficulties here, people. Be patient with us. RJ's got a very good thought here. The Sean McVay's probably hacking in here trying to stop it. Oh, really?
Well, since McVay's been the Rams.
They got you again. Sean McVay and something about the Eagles.
Yeah.
Has Sean McVay, are you saying that he's never won against the Eagles? I think we got the gist of what you were saying, but you cut out on me again. Before we go to the next game, Westside commented in. He's taking the Colts. He said, "No way the Titans contain Richardson." So he's going for the same strategy he went for last week.
Reason why he's doing it.
Yep, he's not fooling us. Might fool the Titans though. We'll see what happens. Next game on the 4 o'clock. I think that was the first 4 o'clock game too. Eagles at Rams. Next one we have is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Arizona Cardinals. Bengals have been a mess this year. They're 1-3. Cardinals are also 1-3. But um, they have performed better than expectations. Probably have the better than what was expected of them. The Bengals, on the other hand, have been dealing with a Joe Burrow calf injury, and he has looked like a shell of himself, as well as their offense. Um, I think this will be a close game. The spread's at 3 points. Um, Cincinnati is the favorite going into Arizona. T. Higgins is out today with a rib injury. I don't know if that's official yet, but that's what the reports were. And Joe Burrow's not even close to 100%, according to reports this morning. Um, I'm going to go with Arizona today. They've been feisty. The the score against San Francisco for Arizona doesn't tell the story. Last week, I think it was 35-16, but they played close until they just 49ers finally, put their foot down and said, "We're going to handle this." But Arizona beat the Dallas Cowboys. They should have won against the Giants, but gave up a comeback victory, and they had a 4-point loss against Washington in Week 1. Um, if they can get their run game going and Dobbs can play efficiently, um, the Bengals just aren't able to push the ball down the field that much, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
go with a hunch that they're not going to correct things this week.
Yeah, with Joe Burrow's injury, it's hard to bet on the Bengals. Like the Josh Dobbs.
What was the last thing you said?
Come back, by the defense against the Giants, the offense. If he can manage, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Until Burrow's calf is better.
Yep. That's going to be the topic of conversation for a while.
I don't know what's gonna happen if he keeps.
That was the one thing I was thinking. They have let's look at the Bengals schedule. They have Arizona today, and then they have Seattle next week. And then they have a bye week. Then they have San Francisco and then the Buffalo Bills. Um
Schedule.
yeah, maybe it's tough because Seattle, I don't know if they're good enough at this point without with or without Burrow to beat Arizona or Seattle, and I picked Arizona today. And Seattle's offense can put points on you, even though their defense isn't great. So I don't know if they could. I would just think if you're gonna rest Burrow to get him to 100%, now's the time to do it. Um, but we'll see what happens. They're playing him, so
Yeah, Seattle's defense had a bounce back week for the bye. Giants too. Whether first pick, first, so maybe that's can turn it around.
yep. All right, let's go to the next game on the slate. We have the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. Um, Tough game for the Jets last week against the Chiefs. Zach Wilson's best game of his career, probably. Statistically speaking, outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Did the Chiefs get bailed out a little bit by the refs? I don't know. I'm not going to say that. Patrick Mahomes did throw a pick at the end of the game, and it was called back on a questionable hold on the Jets. I think it was Sauce Gardner. Um, Chiefs were able to Chiefs were able to go down the field and seal the game at the end. Um, but the Jets showed some fight. Maybe that built their morale up a little bit going into this week. Brees Hall's apparently 100% now. The Broncos on the other end, they came back against their terrible defeat against the Dolphins and beat the Bears 31-28. Um, Broncos are favored in this game by 2.5 points, but I'm going to go with the Jets here. Um, if Zach Wilson can continue and build off of what he did last week against a tough Chiefs defense, I like the Jets here.
Yeah, I like the Jets too. I think with Brees Hall not having a snap count, it's going to really help their offense. It's going to help him, but help Zach Wilson get some pressure off him.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos defense is but straight. Um,
Yeah, Broncos
yeah,
giving up
it's hard. Good.
Broncos giving up 17 to the Raiders, 33 to the Washington, 70 to Dolphins, and then 28 to Chicago. So yeah, their defense is butt, as you
Straight
said.
butt. Yes. And back to the about the Chiefs and Jets. They also the ref hold
Yes, Patrick
on
Johnson,
offense as well.
not Patrick
Yeah,
Johnson,
or it was
Jermaine Johnson.
Junior, or I think it was he's number 11.
Yeah, whatever his
He
name
was
was.
clearly being held by the left tackle, right? Arms up, everything, right in front of the ref, and they just they seem to miss those calls more for the Chiefs than anybody else. But whatever.
They holding calls get missed every game. It's very frustrating, especially when it happens to your team. Um, Westside commenting in has the Jets by 20, so he wants a big victory here.
Love it.
Let's go on to the next game. Speaking of the Chiefs, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Minnesota Vikings. Um, the Chiefs are favored by only 3.5. I guess Vegas doesn't love their offense so far this year. Aside from a huge blowout win over the Bears, the Chiefs haven't really looked that great on offense, which was a possibility coming into this year. Last year people thought it was going to happen, but they were able to make it work with what they had. Juju Smith-Schuster stepped up in spots, and they ran it to a Super Bowl with Mahomes and Kelsey. And this year they lost Juju. Um, Tooney's been not good. Um, Sky Moore's been a little bit of a disappointment. I thought he was going to have a big year. Um,
Yeah, he's had one game with a touchdown so
yeah,
far.
I know everybody talked about Patrick Mahomes' heroics last week and how he willed them to victory, but I thought if they didn't have Pacheco last week, they wouldn't have been able to do anything on offense. Mahomes had turnovers; they weren't able to move the ball. Pacheco had over 100 yards and he was running hard. I think they need to
Mm-hmm.
lean into grinding the clock and maybe just seeing Pacheco as a bell cow type running back,
Yeah.
um, and let him dominate and let Mahomes wheel and deal when he needs to. They still have Travis Kelsey, who's arguably the best tight end in history. Um, that's what I would do if I was the Chiefs.
we all like Pacheco. Good run, quick. He can make the cuts. He's always going forward. He's fighting for extra yards. Into him because, like you said, what other weapons do they got right now? No one else is showing up.
Yep.
I mean, credit the Jets defense too. Obviously, the defense is a real deal, as everybody knows. You still gotta get something going.
Yeah. Yeah. On the other side of the
Yeah, I was about to say
other
the
side
other
of the
side.
ball, we have the Minnesota Vikings. They're 1-3. They just had a victory over the Carolina Panthers, which doesn't really prove much. Before that, they were struggling. Um, I do like the Chiefs coming into this game. I think it'll be a close game. I think the 3.5 points is pretty accurate. I could see it being a field goal game. Uh, the Vikings, as much as they have struggled, they still do have Justin Jefferson, and Kirk Cousins can play when I don't know, when the spotlight's not on him, he can play. But this is, I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I don't know. I think it's going to be a close game. The Chiefs have pretty much been in close games all year, and the Vikings too. They've been in close games yet again this year. They have 3-point victory or a 3-point loss, 6-point loss, or 4-point loss, and then a 8-point victory. So close games yet again. We'll see what they can do against the Chiefs defense that's been better, but I do like the Chiefs. Close game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs too. Unfortunately,
All right. Let's see what we got next. We got the last. All right, that was the last of the 4 o'clock games. On to Sunday Night Football. Um, Probably the game of the week. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers, two of the powerhouse teams in the NFC conference. 49ers, as I mentioned earlier, are one of two undefeated teams with the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-0. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-1. Both teams have essentially dominated everyone they've played, aside from the Cowboys' lone loss against the Arizona Cardinals. Um, San Francisco is favored at home by 3.5. Let's see. Any serious injuries besides what we already know? Doesn't appear to be. Um, I'm excited for this game. I'm in a little bit of a pickle here because I hate the Cowboys and
don't we all?
I strongly dislike the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're a little bit of a rival with the Eagles. Um, Literally just based off of the last NFC championship last year where we handled business, knocked their quarterbacks out. That's neither here nor there. Brock Purdy's apparently the second coming of Joe Montana to most people, which he's played well. I'll give him that. He's played well.
He has played well.
But
He has played very
they
well.
have one of the best rosters in the league, and Shanahan is one of the best offensive coaches in the league. Um, I'm excited to see what he does against a top tier defense in the Cowboys because whether I hate the Cowboys or not, they do have a top tier defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other side of the ball, I am concerned about the Cowboys defense against the 49ers offense, especially in the run game. I have a feeling Christian McCaffrey could have his way against Micah Parsons in this defense. You
Yeah,
can
we
run
got.
the ball at
Yeah,
Micah Parsons.
yeah. His best attribute is passer anyway. Um, body time he gets shut. Um, uh, explosive players, prolific scorers that we've seen in this generation. He's just a home run talent.
McCaffrey?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely up there. He's having a crazy year. It seems like every game he's scoring multiple touchdowns. He's getting big runs here and there, making people miss. It's just crazy. As long as he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the NFL, and that's been that way. Been that way since he's been in the league.
people are talking about him being MVP. Like, if he keeps this pace up, I mean, who knows, man? It could become a real conversation.
I I mean their schedule is fairly light. They have a big matchup tonight against Cowboys, and then they have a later in December. They have a big game against the Eagles in Philadelphia, but that's really their two biggest games of the year. They have obviously division games and whatnot, but if they can rattle off, 13, 14 wins and Christian McCaffrey goes off like he has been, you never know. Um,
Yeah.
the Cowboys
So the
offense has struggled this year. And the 49ers defense is one of the best in the league, so we'll see what happens there. The Cowboys haven't had to rely on their offense because their defense has played so well and has scored so many points. It seems like every week.
yeah,
Um, the one game they lost, against Arizona, they gave up a lot of rushing yards. I'm gonna go with the 49ers though. I think Christian McCaffrey is gonna have his way. Maybe not his way, but enough of his way to get a victory. And I'm gonna say it's gonna be like a 7-10 point game victory.
yeah. Well, I think shout out Dallas's defense. Defense is still better, and their offense is more consistent at least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being could be especially in the first half, a closer game. But as we wind down, the Niners really kind of put their foot down and take over.
Yep. Yeah, 49ers official.
Official,
All right.
officiate.
All right, let's go to Monday Night Football. kind of a lackluster matchup this Monday. We have the Green Bay Packers sitting at 2-2, going to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, who are sitting at 1-3. The Vaders.
The Vaders.
That'd be a cool name.
I would say that'd probably be a cooler name anyway.
The Raiders are favorites at 2.5 points. That's surprising a little bit to me. I think the Packers have looked all right. Jordan Love.
A little inconsistent, but overall,
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you're right. A little inconsistent. Last week for the Raiders was the bad coach off with Josh McDaniels versus Brandon Staley. Josh McDaniels lost that, so he is the bad coach. He's the worst coach.
Off too. Wasn't too many people voted, but it was still funny to see.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels lost that, I believe, right?
He lost like when
The poll.
the last I saw it was a screen. Actually, go look on it. I haven't seen it.
I think the people voted that Josh McDaniels was the lesser of the two coaches.
So he technically he won the poll, but lost the.
He won the poll.
Yeah.
We
I got you. I thought it
yes.
was. I got you.
He won the poll, but lost
Lost it.
everything.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers here. No need to deep dive into this one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I like Christian Watson coming back. Snaps than he did last week. He got a touchdown his first week back. I think he adds a little more explosiveness to that offense. Kind of take some stress away from the other receivers too, who are good. Kind of under pressure can tend to make little mistakes. Drop balls here and there. I think Aaron Jones is going to be coming back a little healthier. I don't know how overall he is, but I definitely like what the Packers are building up there with this young core they got.
Yep.
It's just maybe add a couple more pieces here and there. We'll see here. Possibly.
Yep. So we both agree on that one. And that does it for the games for the Sunday and Monday. Before we leave that to the next segment, let me just get a little update here. Jacksonville
scoring a bit.
Jacksonville still up 11-7. Buffalo has the ball midway through the third quarter, so we'll see how the rest of that game goes.
Still a scoring game.
Yep. But let's move on to our fantasy starts and sits of the week. I'll let you go first with your fantasy start of the week.
My start is going to be Breece Hall. A couple days ago that he is finally off his snap count. I think his knee is good to go. We all saw what he could bring to the table last before he went down. He's a home run threat. Possibly every time he touches the ball. Obviously, with the injury, though, I'm sure there'll still be some, going all the way. But I like him going against the Broncos rush defense. I think they're ranked like 32nd. So, slam Breece Hall, put him in your flex, RB2 at least.
I like that. My start of the week is going to be. There's some conversations the last couple of weeks about how to pronounce his name, but I think it's Devon Achane. Is how you pronounce it, or Devon Achane. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going with him as my start of the week versus the Giants. I think he's pretty much probably in most people's starting lineups, at least the flex. But he's looking like the number one back in Miami now, which is one of the best offenses in the league. They're going up against one of the worst teams in the league, against the Giants. The Giants' run defense isn't that great either. They give up a lot of big plays. Miami makes a lot of big plays. Achane makes a lot of big plays himself. He can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. Definitely make sure he's in your starting lineup if you drafted him or got him off the waivers. Westside is not here today, but he did send us a few of his picks. His start of the week, I'm going to go with one, even though he sent me a few. He's going to go Matthew Stafford against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm assuming he's doing that because Cooper Kupp is back this week. They have Puka Nacua. How do you say it?
Puka
Nakua. Yeah. Anyways, they have him. They have Tutu Atwell. They're going against the Philadelphia Eagles offense that has struggled against the pass and has given up points. So that's a decent pick right there. Let's go with Taylor's sit here as well. His sit of the week is going to be Adam Thielen. You know, Bryce Young, Adam Thielen had that big game with Andy Dalton in the starting lineup, but came back down to earth last week with Bryce Young back. They're playing Detroit. So I think you would be safe to leave Thielen on your bench this week. You want to go?
Yeah.
What? You there?
Again.
Illusion, you're breaking up. I don't think the people can hear you right now. I'm going to go first. Let's let your connection settle down. My sit of the week is going to be, I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Is it Kyron Williams? Kyron Williams on the Rams?
Kyron
Williams versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think that it's going to be a high scoring game. I think they're going to lean more on their pass because that is the weakness of the Eagles defense. The strength is the run defense. It's one of the best run defenses in the league. They don't allow big plays to the running back. I think their yards per carry against running backs is good too. So I know a lot of people. He gets a lot of touches. He's their clear number one back. They traded Cam Akers, but I think if you have a decent option on your bench, I would go with them over him. He's going to get a lot of touches today probably, but I just don't think he's going to have to get a couple touchdowns, and I just don't see that happening.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. What you got?
I said well.
Who?
Well.
Tutu Atwell. Your sit is Tutu Atwell. You're breaking up a little bit. I'm assuming you're sitting Tutu Atwell because Cooper Kupp's back. He's a little bit lower, and now I guess he's the third option essentially.
Target shares, yeah.
Target shares, volume. That's why you don't like him. All right, that's good for that. Those are our fantasy starts and sits of the week. Let's move on to our game locks of the week. I'm going to start this time. What did I have written down here? I had the Chiefs versus the Vikings. And I'm going to take the under. It's currently at 52.5. I think the Chiefs offense has just been not as efficient as it has been in years past. And the Vikings pretty much have to rely on Justin Jefferson, it seems. I don't even think Jordan Addison got a catch last week. And the Chiefs defense has played well. I think it'll be a lower scoring game. So that's my lock. What you got?
Touchdowns easily.
You broke up a little bit there, but I heard Miami and win by 2 touchdowns. So I'm assuming you like Miami Dolphins locked over the New York Giants, which I think the spread was what, 13?
Yeah.
13.5. All right. Yes. Oh no, it was just 13 straight. That's the spread. Whatever. This website has
Either
13 now. That's your lock. The Dolphins
change.
Yeah, RJ's got two touchdown win for the Dolphins over the Giants. Westside's lock of the week is the Jags over the Bills, which is cheating because the game's already going on. I'm assuming you're just going to take the straight up money line Jacksonville over Buffalo. That game is currently at 11-7. So good pick, Westside, if you want to call it that. Let's see here. That was our game locks. We got all that. Anything else you want to add? Any last minute thoughts on this week?
The season's freaking wild so far. I tell you what,
Yep, it's been
not
a
a lot
crazy.
of rhyme and reason.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season so far. You know, injuries as usual, um, all the good stuff. But today's a good slate of games, quality matchups in the 1 o'clock hour, the 4 o'clock hour, and a big Monday or Sunday night football game with the 49ers and Cowboys. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to watching football the rest of the day. So, yep, that does it for the show. Once again, this is No Interference. Thanks for tuning in as always. Make sure you like, subscribe. We're usually on around 10 o'clock, 10:30 every Sunday morning to recap and preview all the games for that week. So make sure you tune in and have a listen. So see you later.
Peace.